All right, I just did a KetoMOM live. I shared with you where Steve and I have been in the last 48 hours since we did not do a KetoMOM live we deleted the first one for some reasons. And then we didn't do one today. And I want you to know that like life happens to everybody. Your attitude is important, the way that you think is important. And I walked you through why we have been just working through life. So if you want to check it out, I hope it helps you with your own mindset and gives you a relatability of we are people too. And so we're real. And I also want to help you on your journey. And I hope this gives you something to think about throughout your day. All right, let's do something fun. I'm sitting in the driveway of the piano lesson and I want to do a Q&A because I love to know the questions that you have. So ask your question below and then tonight I'll come on and answer all of the questions. Whether it's keto question, low carb question, parenting question, homeschool question, doesn't matter what it is, ask and I'd love to answer those. Oh, I love this question. I love books. I love so many books, but the book has to be teaching me something. I don't read fiction very often unless it's tied to a life lesson. So here's my favorite book. It's called The Last Arrow by Erwin McManus. And I love this question. I do enjoy homeschooling. We've always homeschooled our family. My husband and I work from home. We love homeschooling. It allows our family to travel. It allows us to be together. It allows us to just have freedom in our day, to own our day, but we do it all together as a family. So I love homeschooling. I have a little bit of a different viewpoint of school. Rather than having kids memorize so many things, it's really about helping our kids know where to find the answers. Life school, life lessons, like let's teach our kids how to function in this world. No, I actually eat a lot of protein by choice. I would say I'm not strict keto, but I drink ketones. I have for almost 8 years. I would say I'm more low carb, carb conscious. I think that is more sustainable for most people. And the ketogenic diet was truly made for medical reasons. Some people can stick with it, like 1% of people. More people can do a more sustainable low carb lifestyle and not be so rigid because then they don't quit. So low carb to me is making better choices, drinking water, dropping the sugar, not eating so much pasta and rice, but more proteins and veggies. And I really do eat a lot of protein and I want to because it's good for me. There's lots of other reasons for it. Muscle building because I'm getting so strong with CrossFit. I'm going to take that as a really good positive question. And I'm also going to say that social media I think is amazing. Number one, I use social media as like a scrapbook of my life, right? And I hope that I can inspire other people. I'm a mom. I have kids. I'm a homeschool mom. I'm going to show you my kids. Guess what? They're doing a puzzle. Like I'm going to talk about them because they're a huge part of my life. God comes first. My husband comes next. My kids come. And then the KetoMOM page is way down here. And part of what I think is relatable is helping other moms realize like there's a mess in my house and we all can, you don't have to just hide behind a screen and not show the real. And part of my real is being a mom. So I'm going to show you that because I hope to relate to other moms. So what's funny is my husband had to get me on board for 2 years and I didn't join him for 2 years. So you can lead by example, make healthier choices, strategically get some of the junk out of the house. Don't talk about being fat. Don't talk about going on a diet and just go, hey, and actually you want to know what really helped is we all sat down as a family, even when our girls were younger, and we said, as a family, we are going to get healthier together. We're going to play outside. We're going to move our bodies. We're going to drink more water. We're not buying any more pop. We're going to work on not buying as much junk. We're going to have some treats at birthday parties and other places that we go. We're going to all try new vegetables together. It was like a sit around the table. This is what we're doing. Mom and dad really want to do this. Will you do it with us? And then we just made certain foods and it was never a big deal, but it was like we're getting healthy together. I This is the last one. I got asked about kids. Last one so far. My kids are not keto. We encourage them to move their bodies. We encourage them to work on their mindset. We give them good books to read. We encourage them to eat better. They hear me coach you all the time. They hear me coaching people on the power of accountability and not eating when they're bored. And if I see my kids are bored and they're in the kitchen, I say, hey, are you hungry or are you bored? Are you actually hungry? Go find something to do. I don't buy juice and pop. We drink water. Like, I make one meal. We learn how to be healthy together. That's what we do. They are not keto. They are learning to make better choices as kids, so they don't have to deal with what so many adults have to deal with today. Good question. Well, I am a homeschool mom, and that doesn't obviously make any money. But my husband and I share Ketones. We got to help launch the company called Prove It in 2015, and we help coach people on making better choices. And so how does our family do that? I talk about Ketones. It's an incredible company. We have an incredible team. We have an amazing product. I get to do that from home. My husband gets to do that with me from home. We get to travel, meet tons of people. The company is amazing. We lead with education. We have all of the tools. So if it's something that you're interested in, we should chat. I love this question. So obviously you can read the question. It's right here. And so there's different ways that you can afford ketones. And I will tell you this, most people are spending money somewhere. They're spending their money on drive-thrus. Could be very fancy coffee. It could be their nails. It could be lashes. It could be Target runs that are supposed to be one thing that turns into 20 things. It could be whatever, right? Could be protein shakes, meal replacements, running into the gas stations. And so when I tell people, it's really just a matter of understanding ketones. Ketones are not a meal replacement. They're not a protein shake. They're legitimately a supplement, but it's a ketone, beta hydroxybutyrate. I'm not a scientist. I'm a mom, but the product puts ketones in your system. It's different than the reason I explain all that is because as a customer and or promoter, you can earn drink-free ketones by sharing with other people. Like, I share things that I love. I tell people, you all should go shopping at Costco. I share my favorite restaurants. I share my favorite foods. I share my favorite movies. Like, we just went and saw Jesus Revolution. You should all go see it. When Top Gun came out, how fast did that movie, it wasn't even the marketing behind the actual marketing team behind the company. It was the people word of mouth. That's the same thing with Prove It. It's the same thing with ketones. And so people drink 2 ketones a day. Some people drink 1. It just depends. I can always help you with your food. You can do 1, you can do none, you can do 2. You can earn free ketones. You can share word of mouth just like you share other things, and I will help. Right, you're joining me as I'm doing my dishes. Here's the last thing I'll say about ketones. Well, as far as the price goes, is we have a Smart Ship program. So every month you save a certain amount of money. There's lots of ways that you can drink it. So let me help you. Otherwise, let's move on to the next question. All right, this is a great question. The difference is simply this. A ketogenic diet is 80% fat, under 20 carbs a day, so 5% carbs. And I'm going to say that if you're not tracking your food, you're not keto, you're low carb. Low carb to me is not tracking your food, you're making better choices. So you're doing low carb wraps, lettuce wraps, buns off the burger, croutons off the salad. You're drinking water, eating less sugar, being mindful about how often you're eating. Like, that's low carb. You're making better choices. Keto is really tracking all of your food, really high fat, really low carb. You need a lot of water, like half your body weight in ounces of water, and electrolytes. Both of them, I would encourage you to drink ketones because they're going to either elevate ketosis. You've got the ketones in your system. There's no keto flu. You're going to have the energy, the focus, the appetite control to stay focused. You don't have to be keto to drink ketones. And in fact, most people are low carb. Here's 2 phrases that we were told in different circumstances in our life. One of them I talked about today in the KetoMOM Live, and it was, don't see something worse than it is. So listen, hear that, and then take that into your day-to-day. Don't see something worse than it is. Number 2 is, if it bothers you, it actually might be about you. So if something is frustrating you, just take a deep breath and go, if that person or that situation is frustrating me, why is it frustrating me? It's not all the time that it's about you, but it might actually have something to do with you. If it's frustrating you, it might be about you. Hence, maybe some of the reasons why I'm not answering some questions. All right, my kids are watching CrossFit. There's a competition on. Amelia just took an hour to eat her meal, but she did it. She was like, this is terrible. Why is it taking me so long to eat? But she is healing. And the question is, why do I drink ketones? I will tell you. Because in general, the ketogenic diet is hard. It's not that you can't do it. Also, the ketogenic diet isn't sustainable long-term. Ketones in your system are a long sustained energy. So I feel amazing. It turns my brain on. I'm not snacking all day. It helps me with my appetite. It helps me with my cravings. It keeps me awake. I don't need a nap. Ketones preserve muscle. And so I just say, listen, if you're a mom that feels like junk, I used to be like that and now I don't. I feel amazing. And so it's a fuel source and you should try it. I was laughing at that last question. I was like, I'm not lying. I'm not lying. Yes, they work. Yes, you feel amazing. Yes, I call them my mom fuel. And yes, you should try. Walk with me through my messy house. Let me well, it's just because I've been focused on other things. Here is where you should start. You should grab the trial pack. It's a variety box. It's 10 caffeine, 10 caffeine free, 5 different flavors. It's on sale. It's the best place to get started so that you can trial it for yourself. I'll help you with it. I'm going to help you with your food. I'm going to help you feel amazing. We do this together, and then you can see for yourself. All right, but for real, listen, I think it's 80% of your health journey or your goals. Let's say your fat loss journey is based on the food that you eat. So working out, like I love to go to CrossFit, and in fact, I actually didn't go today. Have you ever heard of this saying? I'm full of them today. Priorities are never in conflict. Well, listen, I could have prioritized it, or there was other priorities that needed to come first, which doesn't give me the excuse to not work out. So I told myself it might not be my favorite workout. It might not feel like my best, because I do love to go to CrossFit, but I'm getting my steps in. Dr. Ryan Lowry, who is one of the formulators of ketones, said one of the best things that people can do is, if they physically can, get in 10,000 steps a day, along with eating well, being less stressed, and getting... All right. There's lots of different ways to fast. There's 24-hour fast, there's 60-hour fast, there's intermittent fasting. Hi, did you know that we have 4 dogs? So here's what I would say. You can do a 24, you can do a 60. I've never done an egg fast. Fasting is great because it rests your body. It rests your, kicks your metabolism. I'm clearly not a doctor, but here's what I'll tell you. Dr. Jacob Wilson explained it really well. And he said this, he said, our body needs rest. Like, we physically as human beings need to rest. That's why we sleep. He goes, your digestive system needs the same. And so when you wake up, and if you eat from the time that you wake up until the time that you go to bed, your body really only gets 3 hours of sleep, rest. You can't function on 3 hours of sleep. Your digestive system doesn't like that. And so if anything, intermittent fasting is great. It's just basically you don't eat after dinner, shut the lights out. You eat lunchtime the next day, 16 hours. You can drink black coffee. Ketones don't break your fast. They help you get through that fasting period. I don't always wear a hat. I just took it off. Short answer, I don't like to do my hair. Why? Because it's curly and you have to do it. And then I have to get it wet, shower every day. I go to CrossFit, I sweat, I have to shower. Between sweating and CrossFit and showers, who wants to blow dry this and fix it? And then it just gets listen, the amount of gray that's coming through, I do need to get it colored, but it was time to take care of that every day. Plus I all right, it took me 59 minutes and 30 seconds to do a 5K. I walked, fast walked, all of it except for 0.2. I ran 0.2 miles, but it's a start. Why am I doing more cardio? I think CrossFit's great. I want to lift weights, but I also need to work on this, whether it's getting 10,000 steps in. Eventually I'm going to be able to run further, but you got to start somewhere. And let me tell you, my legs are telling me to stop. All right, I'm about to hop on a Zoom, but I love this question. And when I read it, there's one thing that popped into my mind that when I was taught it legitimately changed the way I reacted or responded. I'm not perfect, but hands down helped me for years and years and years. And so once the Zoom is done, I will tell you what helped me and will help you once you have an awareness of it. All right, I can do it real quick. So years ago, I used to react instead of just sitting. And I think oftentimes when something happens, whether we're parenting or we're at work, like we often feel like we have to respond right away, or we have to react, or we just react out of emotions, right? So my question to you is, have you ever heard of the phrase EQ, your emotional quotient? Oftentimes people talk about their IQ, but have you ever heard anybody teach about EQ? This made me go, oh my goodness. Oh, okay. Just answer that question. Have you ever heard of EQ? Gotta go. Last video for the night. I had to take a shower because I was so gross, but did an incredible Zoom with some incredible new promoters for real. And before I tell you one of the things that changed my life, if you've ever wanted to know what it means to be a promoter, we've got a $1 business club going on. If you want to be a part of an incredible team, you want coaching, you want to inspire others, friendships, like-minded people, we need to chat. Now, here is the story I wanted to tell you. All right, so it's called EQ, and what that means is how well do you handle your emotions. So for this instance, the mom that asked was probably asking, how do you handle kids and hormones? And all I'm gonna say is any situation in life, you have the opportunity to either respond or react. Your EQ, how well do you handle your emotional quotient? Do you react out of anger? Do you yell? Do you scream? Or do you take a breath, realize that you don't have to react and you can respond when it's appropriate? So when we had an instance years ago, it was almost 8 years ago, and I reacted out of anger, I got a phone call. Our CEO walked me through what EQ stood for, and he said, Stephanie, you never have to react. In a situation, you can compose yourself, and as soon as you have an understanding of EQ and what that means, your EQ is how well you can handle your. So instead of reacting, get the word in your mind, EQ, and then tell yourself, I don't have to react, I can respond. And responding to a child, a spouse, a boss, an employee or an employer, a friend, somebody driving next to you, you don't have to react. But if you go, oh, EQ, I can handle my EQ, I'm not going to say anything. I'm going to A, collect the facts, B, decide how I'm going to respond, and when I'm ready, without being angry, I'm going to respond. So my response to your question is you don't, if you can just have an awareness of, oh my goodness, I have EQ. Do I handle my EQ well or I don't? Now that I told you these two words, I'm going to either be reactive or I'm going to respond appropriately. I need to collect the facts and then I can respond in an appropriate manner. That is how I handle lots of things, and even our kids do. And I'll say, ho, check your EQ. I hope that makes sense. So you have an IQ, you have an EQ, you have an AQ, which is how adaptable you are. And so those things, when you have an awareness of them, will help you make decisions. It will help you not get into fights, to keep your calm. It will help you in so many different areas of your life, especially with your children. And